Greenwood Car Show. Electric F-250. That doesn't make any sense. John's here. John's got some time into this. John, tell us about your F-250.
I wanted an electric truck. So I ended up having to convert one. I did this one like 14 years ago. Started out at the time just picking the components that were available that I could afford, but I wanted the good stuff. So it's got a 2,000 amp controller, a 12 kilowatt charger, dual motors, and a truckload of batteries.
We will go look at those in a minute. Talk to me about what I'm looking at. What do we got here?
In here, we've got, that's what I would call the general wiring box. Everything has to be connected together somewhere.
Because you see all the different things.
The little green thing there, that's the hairball for the Zilla motor controller.
Okay.
That's basically the interface to the rest of the truck.
I see.
That's why it's called a hairball. There's a lot of wires sticking out of it.
Oh, I thought it's because it's made out of cats.
No, the cats I kept separately.
Well, they charge it, right? That's what your home charging solution is, John. Okay, and this is your micro.
That's
inverter?
a 12 kilowatt battery charger.
Oh, this is the charger.
Yeah,
That's big.
It's about double what most electric cars have.
Yes.
I draw 50 amps out of a 240 volt outlet.
Great.
And for with the latest battery pack, it'll be like 10 hours at that rate. Which is why you've got to have a good quality outlet. I've melted the cheap one.
Fuses?
Yeah, because right now the new pack is 2 strings of modules. So there's two positive lines coming in, one per each fuse, going off to the controller. The negative line just goes straight to the controller directly.
Air intake?
These are cooling blowers for the 2 motors.
Because the motors do get warm enough.
Yeah, well, they have built-in blowers, but they're kind of weak, especially at lower speeds. So these boost a lot more air.
And you want to overdo the parts you want to overdo.
Yeah, you want to help keep the motors cool. I normally have a thermal control switch on these that keeps them running for like 10 minutes after I turn off the truck.
That's great.
But
I got you, of course.
The switch broke last week, so I don't have it on there.
This tube.
This is a vacuum reservoir for the electric vacuum pump for the power brakes.
Because trying to convert this to manual brakes would be dangerous.
This is an 8,000 pound truck. You don't want to do manual brakes. I mean, no.
No.
And down there is the electric power steering pump out of, I forgot which little sports car.
Right? But it was an off-the-shelf.
Off-the-shelf used electric power steering pump, which even though this is a big truck, it works just fine. The only time you notice it's a little underpowered is if you're doing tight maneuvers in a parking lot. Then the steering wheel goes.
I had a Cadillac where one day the power steering control decided you're turning left. So I had to go out and cut the belt just so I could drive home. And so for the next week, it was, until I could get into the shop, it was manual. And not just manual, but fighting the pump manual. And you would have to brace your legs against the footwells and really give it some love if you wanted to turn.
With this truck, I wanted a power steering, so I kept the power steering. Admittedly, I don't currently have a heater or air conditioner. I'm actually working on that. I've picked up one of those small portable household bidirectional heat pumps.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to put an inverter to power it.
Do you think it'll fit?
It's small. If I open up the case and spread the components around a little, I'm pretty sure it'll fit in here.
It might.
And then I can tie it into the ductwork right there.
That's great. Oh, that'd be great. Oh, John, you thought of everything.
Because I got enough room up here.
Yeah, you can. I think you can do it. So the only problem with the F-250, John, and you know this, is there's no utility to it, right?
Yeah, take a look.
What on earth am I looking at here?
All the batteries are under the bed.
But how do you access them?
Why do I need to? Yeah.
Because you just give it a hoist.
Yeah, well, this is a standard tilt bed kit you buy, mail order.
My stepdad always had.
Yeah, and this is my car show
safety
bar.
Yeah.
If the hydraulic line pops, we really don't want it closing on people.
No. And
So each one of these is a Bramo golf cart battery pack.
Wow.
That I bought used.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's 2 layers deep back there, so there's 6 back there.
10.
And there's only 2 here, but there's 3 on each side of the truck because they go under the cab.
Oh, because they,
And on the inside of the frame under the cab.
Oh, so how many modules total?
Total of 14.
14 of these I'm just going to tell you right now, I would not like to lift that.
Each one of these is about 150 pounds.
I just told you, John, I don't wish to lift it.
And the fun part was I had to open the case on every single one of these to wire in the battery management system. 72 screws to open the frigging case on these.
I'm going to tell you, that feels like the wrong number of screws, but at least they're all matching.
There's 3 sizes.
Of course there are 3 sizes, John. Why would you use 1 or 2?
Yeah.
Because 4 would have been too many. 72 screws per module, but only times 14.
It's around 2,000 pounds of battery pack, but this is an F-250. Who cares?
And this plate is just safety, or?
Well, this plate is actually the cover of the previous batteries I had.
Yes.
That was the cover for them.
Gotcha.
Here I just left it because it doesn't hurt anything, and it's hard to get off.
Right. That's fair. And so you
helps keep dirt out of the battery pack.
And so now, do you have enough electricity to power a hoist? I think you might.
Yeah, well, the Transit Connect DC to DC will put out 100 amps at 12 volts.
100 amps at 12 volts.
Yeah, so
that's a little bit of juice.
That can keep this truck with all the blowers and the pumps and such. I normally pull 50 amps out of the 12 volt system at all times.
Right.
And when I run the pump or the winch that's mounted in the bed, it goes up higher. So. And I have the tilt bed kit. I did fun. I put the switch in the old gas cap cover over here.
Oh, I'll come around. And another Seattle Electric Vehicle Association member here.
Yep. See, there's the switch to control the tilt bed. It's convenient.
That's perfect.
And I do have elegant. And I do have a disabler switch inside the cab, so I can make it so that one doesn't work.
And I understand these are good at resisting heat because apparently you drive yours on the surface of the sun. Did I read that right?
I've got 7 kilowatts of solar panel at home.
Oh, that makes more sense. I misunderstood.
Provides more power than I ever need for this truck.
Wow. Wow. This is great. And that's just a junction. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I want to make sure nothing could touch it.
And this is the BMS.
There's two of the Orion BMS systems because this is 2 strings of 7 modules in parallel.
Yeah. So you know what people ask next? What's it cost?
I think you could redo this for about $25,000 in parts.
Okay. And that's with new or readily available secondhand
things
parts?
like the controllers and charger are new. The battery modules I bought used off surplus. Okay. That's the best place to buy battery modules.
For sure. Because I don't know if you know, but if you have money and you don't like it, you are allowed to burn infinite money buying batteries.
Oh yeah.
In a hurry.
This pack cost me about $11,000.
Which even secondhand for that
112 kilowatt hours
is a good deal.
It's a great deal.
Yeah. And they came out of 14 golf carts.
Yep. Someone apparently scrapped out a fleet.
What a deal. What a deal. Boy. And what a deal for them, because they've got no use.
Yeah, and they're great. Other than taking 72 screws to open the freaking case. But
so $25,000 plus, of course, all the sweat and love.
Well, yeah. I'm guessing it was around 6 months of odd weekends and evenings in my shop. Occasionally with friends helping. I didn't track labor at all.
And it wouldn't matter because your labor and my labor would be 2 very different amounts of time. And there's always a learning curve and whatnot. The only thing's missing is the heating and cooling, which is on the list, just not at the top.
And this is the Pacific Northwest, so it's not super critical.
It's pretty temperate. It's pretty temperate. And is there anything else I'm forgetting to ask about it? Oh, what do you got on the dash there?
Oh, that's a Raspberry Pi computer and display, which I've hooked up to show all the data from my motor controller.
Perfect.
It tells me how much power I'm using.
So it's your onboard diagnostic, as it were.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Let's make sure I got all the information off of here. I think that's pretty great.
And of course, I don't know if I mentioned with the torque, I just start out in 4th.
Okay, talk to us about that. You start,
DC drive system,
yes,
you have massive torque from 0 RPM. So for normal driving, I'll start out in 4th. If I'm going to go uphill, I'll start out in 3rd. Or if I want good acceleration, I'll start out in 3rd.
Sure.
But that's good for 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
4th is good to maybe 110, but I don't drive Ford trucks at that speed.
I wouldn't. I would not. Just the thought of the wobbly drift you would get over 90 is
Yeah.
in this vintage, and I mean you do have a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But the good news
The truck's
is
almost 8,000 pounds now.
the good news is you would still stop eventually. I mean that's a saving grace. And all the blue are brackets that you made.
Yeah.
That you had to.
The blue is stuff I built. The aluminum plate back there was I had to have a machine shop build because I just couldn't do that.
Right, and that closes off the transmission.
Yeah, basically couples the motors to the transmission.
Yeah.
And of course, all the brackets to mount all those battery backs I had to build.
If you wanted to start in first, you could, but you don't.
There's no point.
There's no point. I mean, you would.
I mean, then you'd have to shift a bunch. And
Right.
I don't have a clutch.
But
plate.
what I mean
Well,
is-
I don't have a clutch pedal. So starting out in third, and if I have to shift to fourth, it'll either be at a stoplight or I'll just thunk it against the synchros and wait 10 seconds. It'll shift.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool. John, am I forgetting to ask anything?
Who knows?
All right. So all the contact information is right here. And then, of course, in the meantime, we should probably say, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? I guess, leave it in the comments. I might just have to reach out to John again to get more and better information. And if I do, I'll need all those comments. So, subscribe if you haven't, all that good stuff. Follow me around. I don't know. Check me out on Patreon. It's how I can actually afford to do all these ridiculous trips to meet all these ridiculous people. No offense. So stay tuned. Stay juicy. Can't wait to hear from you clever robots, maybe even in person.